Limerick, who shot their way out of Brixton prison, where they had been on remand awaiting trial for the attempted murder of the director of the Whitbread Brewery Group in England. He next appeared on the scene in 1993 when he was arrested in Dublin and was sentenced to 7 years at that time for possession of firearms. He did not serve the 7 years because in 1995 the government left him out under special conditions as an appeasement, I think, at the time for the first ceasefire. He then came to prominence a few months afterwards when he appeared in a dare with the gang that murdered Jerry McCabe. 3 hours after the killing of Jerry McCabe in a dare, McCartney strolled into the Garda station in Nina to sign on as one of his bail conditions. And then he vanished after that.
Well, I met him at a dance in Cruises. Cruises Hotel was there at the time, in 1965. I saw beauty. Can you say beauty in a man? Handsome should be the word, I suppose.
She was a very dependent, not independent, very dependent housewife, come hairdresser. As you know what I mean. And Jerry was her pillar of rock. She never had to bother to learn to drive because Jerry was there all the time. And all of a sudden he's snatched and she's left basically isolated. Like a flick a switch.
Lovely, lovely man. Very happy-go-lucky, easy-going. And any old parties that would be going or any celebrations, he'd be top of the list. It was a hard act to follow.
Jerry McCabe, who was a friend of mine, great friend of mine, he used to do work for me. There was nothing he couldn't do with engines, electrics, you name it, he could do it. He had a brilliant brain. I think he was more interested in mechanics and stuff than he was actually in the guards. A man walked in here one day to get an engine put into his car. I didn't know who he was. Jerry McCabe put the engine into this car. Every time this man came here, there was always a special branch car following him. And I asked Jerry, I said, who is he? The special branch car always seems to be following him. He said, he's Kevin Welch, the head bookcat of the IRA around here. And the irony of that is that same man shot Jerry McCabe 6 months later.
Couldn't be true to say we didn't have any break. The investigation was still ongoing. There were in excess of 3,500 statements taken, over 5,000 questionnaires, multiple searches conducted, and there was in excess of 40 people arrested.
We are now in Muller County Cavan, where in March 1998 Kevin was arrested by the Garda Emergency Response Unit, approximately 21 months after the murder of Jerry McCabe in Adair, County Limerick. When the Garda arrested Walsh in this house, he was putting on his trousers and running back towards his bedroom. They found he had a loaded pistol in a holster attached to his trousers with a full magazine and 9 more bullets in his trousers pocket. He had an AK-47 rifle leaning against his bed with 2 full magazines taped onto that rifle.
The firepower that was available to that man at that time indicated to me that he was not going to go easy. If some uniform members called to check out the house, probably they would have died as well.
They also found a number of manufactured disguises in this house. He had dyed his red hair black, and obviously was preparing and manufacturing false passports. And the presumption is that he was about to flee the country using some of these false passports.
The equipment that was available to Walsh and his general condition suggested to me that he was being supported by an organisation.
Who funded him for all that length of time that he was here? We all remember the pictures of Saddam Hussein when he was captured. He had a long beard, long hair, very frightened looking man, which would be in total contrast with Kevin Walsh. He was well dressed, hair dyed, ready to go. He wasn't like a man on the run. He was like a man that had been well looked after, well set up, well fed, well clothed, and money to go to the local for a few pints.
This photograph I took of Kevin Walsh entering the rear of Henry Street Garda Station in the back of an unmarked Garda car. And to be honest, I was angry because I think everybody was sure that this was the trigger man, the man that actually killed the Detective Guard Jerry McCabe. And looking at the photograph afterwards, I thought he looked so relaxed and calm, as if, you know, the weight of the world wasn't on his shoulders. As if he'd done a proud thing, as if he'd served his country in some way and he was just being unfairly treated. As if he was the victim.
In the special criminal court today, Ben O'Sullivan broke down several times as he recalled the last moments of Jerry McCabe's life. The four accused of murder and attempted murder listened as he remembered how he called to his colleague Jerry 3 or 4 times after the shooting. There was no answer. He'd been hit by 3 bullets, one to the right shoulder, one to the right arm, and the fatal wound to the right side of his upper back.
In the beginning, the Gardaí charged these people with murder, the murder of Jerry McCabe. When it went to court, there had been an appalling amount of intimidation carried out against witnesses. One witness said he would not be able to live his life again if he testified against Kevin Walsh and his cronies.
I am aware the gang, having left the scene, that they went to a farm in Tumivara where they all washed, had a change of clothing and burnt all the clothing that they had been wearing that morning. I am also aware that a person who has not been apprehended arrived within a day to the farm in Tumivara and removed all the weapons, and the weapon used in killing has not been recovered to date.
In a barely audible voice, 52-year-old bachelor farmer Patrick Harty said he was sorry, but he couldn't take part in this case and was committed to prison for contempt. 2 other prosecution witnesses, Patrick Walsh and his daughter Sally Walsh, the father and sister of accused man Kevin Walsh, were declared hostile witnesses by the court. Both said they had no recollection of making statements to Gardaí about events in their home the night before the McCabe murder and couldn't even recall that night. The state claims that Sally Walsh says that on June 6, 1996, the eve of the Adair shooting, men were coming and going from her Patrick's Well home. It stated that Jerry Roach, whom she knew from Sinn Féin, was there, and Ger Sheehy, who looked shifty. Mike O'Neill was in and out of the house and sat in a chair cleaning guns, and a man with a northern accent that the other lads called Pierce. The statement says she saw a bag with 4 rifles with magazines in them, a double-barreled sawn-off shotgun, and a number of shorts, explained as small guns. But Sally Walsh says in evidence that her only memory of Thursday nights is making jam, a task she undertakes every Thursday night.